What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies. This is another spoiler discussion where we're going to get in depth on a recent film that we've seen, and that is going to be Lion King, the new Lion King, released in 2019. I am Jacob Bartley, joined by Jake Berlin and Brian Apocaflix. This was definitely one of those most anticipated movies at the beginning of the year. I'm sure we all love the original Lion King.
Oh yeah,
to different levels, I'm
100%.
sure, but you know, it's something that was in all of our childhoods. We're all around the same age, at least us three guys speaking here. So it was something that we were very much looking forward to, almost up on that Marvel Star Wars level.
Yeah,
but
seriously.
So
for Jake, definitely.
So there's a lot of anticipation and high expectations. So I'm curious to see how this worked out. And we've talked about it. We did a non-spoiler review, but let's get into it. We're gonna talk spoilers. I want to go to you, Jake. Is it your favorite animated film?
It is
of all
my
time?
favorite. It's in my top 5 movies of all time.
I'm sure I knew that, but I didn't realize that.
It's my Beauty and the Beast. Put it that way.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
and my Hercules.
And your Hercules. There you go.
So how did you feel about this?
So yeah, I mean,
remake.
I went in with incredible expectations. I mean, I was losing my mind.
Well, and on top of that, Jon Favreau directing, who
Yes.
did Jungle Book.
Yes,
Like,
and
it's
you know,
crazy.
he's done a lot of great films that are favorites of ours over the last 10 years or so. Obviously, you know, the Iron Man 1 and 2, and then he's doing The Mandalorian, and he's involved in a lot of stuff that we do. And so I had a lot of expectations, and I only saw the first 2 trailers for this movie. I cut myself off from anything else. I saw a TV spot that was released a few weeks back, and it played a short minor clip of a song, and I cut it off after a second, and I lost my mind.
I basically in the same. I didn't watch anything past the first 2 trailers.
Yeah, and so I had my expectations were very, very high, and I went in very excited. I do love the movie. I love the movie. I really, really enjoy the movie. Yes, there are things that I question and things that I don't like as much, but I will say this, and Brian knows this because we went and saw this together. I had a hard time with our experience watching the movie because the movie was actually cut off. It was in widescreen, and part of the film was cut off. I noticed it because when the Disney logo popped up in the very beginning with the castle and everything, the word Disney was actually cut in half.
What?
And so the entire time I'm thinking to myself, okay, what am I missing? Like, what kind of landscape shot am I missing? Like, no characters were cut off or anything, but I just kept...
it's like their feet or something.
Yes, and I just kept thinking to myself, like, what does the shot really look like? And so I was pretty bummed by that, and I think I'm going to have to go watch it and kind of spend the money and just go see it in IMAX to really let myself enjoy the film and what it's supposed to be. But that aside, I did enjoy it. I really had fun watching the movie. There's some really good laughs that are reinvented from the old film, but also some new laughs as well.
Yeah.
A la Timon and Pumbaa, obviously.
So fun.
The Simba stuff with Mufasa, obviously, is always an emotional impact. It really does get you because, unlike a lot of movies where there's a character like Mufasa who is used just for a certain reason, and he's not really like a character, as I put it in quotes, Mufasa's a legit character. Like, he is a legit character.
I feel like you spent more time with him in this remake than in the original.
It went very quick in the first one.
Yeah.
And they made him,
which is something they did right in this movie.
And they made the impact very strong. And so, I don't want to spend too much time because we're going to get into it, but I think that the movie overall did a really good job of reinventing itself. And yes, it is a flat out remake. It remakes almost every shot identically in every way possible. There's a few new elements in there, and we'll probably get into that. But overall, I did enjoy the movie, and it lived up to my expectations, but I'm not going to say that it surpassed them like I was hoping it would.
Okay. Yeah, I liked the movie. I'm not over the moon about it. I had high expectations because of Jon Favreau, and I'm just like, look what he did with Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Because I think an argument can be made that for some people might prefer the remake of Jungle Book to the original. Yeah. I could see that, but I could never see anyone making the argument for Lion King.
I would agree with you,
in my opinion. So, it was weird to me. I felt like and here, I'll just mention my main problem with it, so then I can talk about what I liked. I felt like a lot of the voice casts were talking as if they're modern human beings living in today's world. That's the way they sounded to me.
I agree.
As opposed to just like creatures who don't have any understanding of human society. That's what they're supposed to sound like. Of course, they're speaking English, obviously, so it's kind of weird for me to say that, but I think you know what I mean. When you watch the original, I'm not even thinking that that's a human or a human voice. I'm just thinking that's a lion talking, and it has partial to do with the animation and all that stuff. But it really felt like some of the characters weren't these wild creatures out in the wild, that they lived in our world or something like that. That's what I felt like. That was my main issue with the movie overall, and it took me out of it a lot. But other than that, visually, absolutely incredible. It was actually really funny, and I'm a Seth Rogen fan, but I wasn't expecting to like Timon and Pumbaa as much as I did in the movie.
I didn't either.
Fart jokes aside, which
he's one of the characters that reinvented his voice for the character.
Yeah,
There were moments
you could
where
tell it's him, but
yes,
still.
but there were also moments where you were thinking to yourself, okay, that's just Seth Rogen.
And the thing is, Seth Rogen doesn't sing. He had to sing a little bit in this, which he did for him.
And they didn't use him as much as they would have because it's his voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just... There's a lot of things I enjoyed. But I hate fart jokes in anything. So are the farts in the original?
I believe so.
Are they?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
You would know better than
that stuff bothered me. But still, I love... And I know this is in the original when Pumbaa gets mad and starts fighting the hyenas back.
Yeah.
I love that.
But the scene in the animated movie was much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
It was much better.
That's funny that you said it, because that was the one scene I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
But I did like... I don't know if this is a line in the original, and no pun intended, but I should have watched it before watching this one. But he says, I run away from something, hyenas, or he says something from predators, but I don't run away from bullies or something like that.
Yeah, that was
weird. He says, I run away from predators, but I fight back bullies.
I like that line.
I like it.
Because it's a modern day spin.
I like that line because he's saying he's scared of the hyenas, but if you get me mad,
he's gonna stand up
I'm gonna
to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love how he gets offended by him calling him chubby. They do that in the original, but they don't say chubby, I don't think. They say something else.
They probably say fat in the original.
So there's a lot of stuff that I really enjoyed about it. I actually really like Donald Glover as Simba for the most part. And James Earl Jones, even though you can tell he's older, he was still great as Mufasa.
The voice still sounds amazing as that
it's the most majestic voice ever.
Oh my god.
So yes, I like it. I don't love it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian?
I echo the same aspect. I liked it, didn't love it. I caught myself not minding certain things because I was so like entranced by the visuals of it. Like I was just like staring in the background at times.
I was just staring at the water and the trees and the leaves and everything.
The way everything was
crazy.
moving.
Yeah. It's like, that's not no way.
The one thing that I had been very adamant about before the movie was the fact that Jeremy Irons wasn't going to be Scar.
Yeah.
Because I love his voice.
Well, I always said, if you're bringing James Earl Jones back, why not bring
And that's
Jeremy
what I
Irons back?
felt too.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, his voice to me is almost just as iconic in Lion King as James Earl Jones is, because I loved Scar's voice, and just it made it seem more. And I can't say his name.
Chiwetel
I
Ejiofor.
literally cannot. You could paint.
He did a good job, but
he did a good job.
It didn't feel the same.
But I still left wanting Jeremy Irons' voice, and especially when we got the half-assed version of "Be Prepared," that bothered me too, because that song is one of the best bad guy songs I can think of. I can't think
Probably
of really.
the best.
Yeah, I mean, I could think of like off the top of my head only a few that really sing. Like Ursula has a song, but I don't even remember anything about it. But so, I mean, hearing him, he kind of like talked through the song. I was just kind of like,
before I realized he was actually singing the song, it was over.
He was just
I was
talking.
like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that was it?
yeah. So that was one of my big things. I love Timon and Pumbaa. I was sitting next to my sister and we
Timon was
were
great, too.
cracking up. Timon was
Who voiced Timon?
Billy Eichner.
Yeah,
He can sing.
he
He can actually sing.
So
That was crazy.
he's in a great show
Billy on the Street?
from it's on Netflix called Friends from College.
Oh, I've heard of the
His-
show.
His
Yeah.
comedy timing in that is he's Fred Savage's husband in the show.
Oh, okay.
Such a good comedy guy, and pairing him with Seth Rogen.
I
is
forgot
perfect.
how much Timon sings in the original too, and he actually sings a lot, and he was great.
Yeah.
the other thing I kind of agree with you was the voices. I did not like Beyonce's Nala. Like,
Well,
I literally felt like I was
just
just
heard her voice. 'cause
Exactly.
The thing is, you know her voice because
Yeah.
you know she's a pop
And-
figure. but
exactly.
it's
And
just
so,
crazy,
like,
yeah.
I just literally felt like I was just listening to her talk and the lion's mouth was moving. Like, that's...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing for me. The only problem with the visuals, the facial expressions of the lines, there was no facial expression. It was just kind of their mouths moving, and that's it. That's how it looked to me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and now you say that, and I'm sure I've thought about it beforehand, but the one scene from the original Lion King that I always think about is when Simba's in the gorge, and the God, what are they called? The
Elk.
they're not elk. They're whatever. Those animals are coming towards
Exactly,
him. His
yeah.
face like drops and his ears drop.
Mhm.
They didn't do that in this movie, and it may have been for logistical reasons,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
you don't get that kind of feel like you do in an
And
animated movie.
Either they couldn't do it, or they purposely try to make it more realistic. But they're talking lines.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if you're going that far, just give them facial expressions. You know, it was a little tough for me. But mentioning the music, I thought the music was performed very well. The
Yeah.
actual songs, you can go listen to the soundtrack, and it's going to be great. But did it feel like to you guys, story? All right, let's tee this part up for the song to come in, and then just each song transition felt weird to me.
I thought that it was weird that, like, they did a lot of, like, showing before they did a song. So, like, when that hair was floating.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I get the whole thing, but that thing, like, seemed like it took forever. And the visual, it kind of was like, look at these awesome visuals. Oh, look at what it's doing now.
Nature Channel.
Yeah, and then we get the song. And then same with when they go back to Pride Rock and Beyonce sings that one song. It was like set up with visuals, and then they're walking through everything, and she's singing her new song. So that a couple times I just felt like they were like,
It was like, get
look at
ready
the
for the
visuals.
song.
Yeah, it was like, look at the visuals right now. It's amazing. Don't really care so much about the storyline, but look at these visuals. That's what I kind of got a couple times. And
It's still a good movie, though. It just...
oh no, it's amazing.
It didn't... And I don't care that it was very similar to the original. That's fine, because you can do whatever you want. And honestly, a lot of kids haven't even watched the original.
This will
surprisingly.
be
He
their
doesn't
Lion
even
King.
watch the original.
This will be their
Exactly.
Lion King,
So
yeah.
that's fine, but it just, they could have done something different that would have changed the movie for me, making it better or worse, whatever the case may be.
I think this is one of the movies if you're gonna remake it, you kind of have to follow it as close as you can.
True.
Like, it can't be like Maleficent, or you like go off and make your own type thing. Like, people would lose their mind if you changed the Lion King.
For me, I look at
Wouldn't you?
Aladdin. Aladdin was a great mixture of retelling the same story,
Yeah.
but switching it up a little bit.
Aladdin, I couldn't tell.
And I love,
What
I
was
like
changed
Aladdin
from-
more than this movie, for
So
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
That's up in the air for me, I think. I'm still
And-
torn, but I may be biased because of my love for the
I'm gonna
first
go
one,
watch
so.
Lion King at least one more time.
Mhm.
I don't know. I might have been in the wrong headspace when I saw it, but it was just weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to talk about we kind of touched on, but the voices, and we can kind of go one by one if we want to. The Chiwetel Ejiofor thing, I think, would I have liked to see Jeremy Irons return? Yes, of course. I mean, his voice is pretty iconic in the world of film in general. I mean, Scar from the original is one of the best villains you'll ever see in a Disney film. It may have, and I'm not disagreeing with what Brian said as far as bringing him back or anything, but maybe he just didn't want to come back. Maybe
That's
he wanted to
possible.
do the
That's
film,
possible.
the animated movie and not kind of redo it again and go back into the headspace. But I didn't mind Chiwetel Ejiofor because there were moments to myself where I'm thinking, this is a different kind of Scar. It's a very different approach to a Scar. Not every moment that he was there, but a lot of the time I was thinking to myself, okay, they kind of reinvented him and gave Chiwetel Ejiofor something new to do and not just reinvent what Jeremy Irons did.
He seemed very bitter and resentful. A lot more.
He was the most different from the original character.
Yes,
like you said, and I think the Scar from the animated film is more. I think he's more physically stronger. I think, and he's more like, haha, I'm a villain in a way. It works,
animated.
This one felt like he would never even try to fight Mufasa. It would be no question, He has to beat Mufasa with his mind, like he says, I'm smarter than you, or whatever. But I just feel like he was more of a frail, older...
Yeah, it seemed like he was beaten down by something that we had no idea what was happening.
Yeah. I think it was the fact that he lost his Mufasa in a fight, and that kind of
probably.
Well, they did tease that with the scrap or with the Scar, obviously. And
I think that he lost his chance at being dominant.
Lost his balls.
After, essentially, Mufasa was I'm the one in charge.
But it almost seemed like, and if that's the case, it almost seemed like it was like a sheer beatdown, like a hospital coma style beatdown. Because and use the perfect word, he seemed very frail, very frail until certain moments where he did kind of exuberate himself a little bit. But
which is weird because he didn't live in the hyena area. He was in Pride Rock.
So weird, Simba would.
But he was in
talk to him.
Yeah, it was like a different kind of.
Cave.
You know what? I was thinking about this during the movie, but in the original, didn't we go to the hyena's home, and there was a cave full of hyenas? Was that the Be Prepared song in the original?
So. Yeah,
I think so.
You're right.
God, I would have loved to have seen that.
And that's where Scar was.
Because wasn't he down below and all the hyenas were around him? On this side, it was opposite.
You're right.
It was flipped. He was up top and they were below him.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the landscape, and it made more sense because physically, as far as a live action films goes, that wouldn't logistically make sense.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have seen that because of all the colors and everything.
Yeah, with the eyes in the dark and all
yeah,
that.
it would have been really cool. So, but that's just, my 2 cents on it. So.
Yeah. And they obviously couldn't, but they didn't do the hula scene. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's talk about the hyenas real quick, because there wasn't a hyena leader in the original animated, and that was played by... who was she played by?
The woman,
She's
right?
the Dora Milaje and...
Okay. So yeah, she
Oh,
played...
is that her?
she's not she's not Denai Guerrera, but she's the
lead hyena.
Yes.
So and then we had Andre and Keegan Michael Key as the 2 hyenas.
Yeah.
What did we think about them? Because I liked their banter back and forth, and it never felt like it was too much personally.
It was fine. At first, it caught me off guard. I was like, "Wait a minute!" It was something different from
because there
original.
wasn't the trio of hyenas that we saw from the original.
It was something different, and the thing in the original, they're just laughing the whole time.
Yeah, and
they say
they're
some
stupid.
They have some lines.
The one is stupid.
Yes.
The one is stupid.
Yes.
Then there's the. See, this is what I don't understand. Is people were complaining about the girl leader one. There's really only the 3 in the Lion King, but. One of them was kind of like the leader and kind of smart, which I think that's what... Instead of just making them the 3, they just kind of pulled her...
Well, she was like the hyena queen.
Yeah.
But in the animated movie, there was the 3 that were always focused on, and she was all... And that one was always the one butting heads with the others.
And it was Whoopi Goldberg that voiced it. So I think they kind of... It's still the same, but they just kind of tweaked it.
They tweaked it a little bit. She was more separate from them. Them 2 were in the movie more than her, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she came in for the important parts that they needed her for.
But if you think about it, in an Animal Kingdom, that makes sense. There wouldn't there would be a lead hyena.
Exactly,
That would be leading.
She was just doing her own thing until she needed to.
Exactly. But I liked it. I think I mean, Keegan Michael Key sometimes can get too much in comedy, but they didn't use him, overuse him at all. And I think him playing off of Andre worked well.
I was hoping they wouldn't use them too much in the movie, and by the end of the movie, they didn't.
Like the one scene where, the stuff, the personal space thing was pretty funny, and they went over the cliff, and
okay.
Is this far enough? He's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Personal space. Like that was funny, and luckily it was kind of just that, and then they kind of moved on from it. So I was happy with how they did that. Again, I would have liked to have seen that giant scene with the Be Prepared, but they didn't deliver on the Be Prepared thing as much as we probably would have.
Well, they didn't even give us the full song. No. I don't think.
No, they didn't.
That's
just
the disappointing
through,
part.
That backhand.
And it's funny because the anime movie is so much shorter, but it felt like this movie was so much rushed. It felt like there was a lot of rushing going on in this movie.
It really did.
And it kind of flew by.
And
it was over like that.
Yeah.
And Rafiki was barely.
Yeah, well, that's something that I wanted to talk about. He was definitely probably my biggest disappointment. He's like a freaking ninja monkey in the anime movie, and like he didn't use his stick at all. Like swing that thing around and like kick some butt in this movie.
Yeah,
and,
he used it a little bit.
But it was like that one scene where he basically just banged the one on the head with the end of the stick, and I guess he served his purpose per se, but I would have liked to have seen him use a lot more with all his funny lines and the jokester that he was in the serious moments, and because he had such a big impact in the animated movie. But again, I guess in live action films, some characters rise and some characters fall. So
like they used Zazu a lot.
But he was great.
Yeah. Oh no, he was great. He was really good.
And it was funny because as the movie was going on, at first I was wondering, I'm like, God, the head twitching is really bothering me. But then I'm thinking to myself, that's what a normal bird does. Like, I have to kind of buy into it. And it really worked with the way John Oliver was voicing him.
I love the woodpecker line.
Oh, with his brother?
That
was so funny. That was so funny. It was great.
And Zazu, when I was watching the movie, I was like, Zazu is such a great character because he's a little bird, right? And he's risked his life multiple times.
For everybody.
To save Simba. He gets involved in the fights. He could easily get snatched up and killed in 2 seconds. And he's down there fighting.
But there were also times I was thinking to myself, why are you standing there when you're a bird and you can fly, dude? Like, get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, he was like backing up in the cave. I'm like, you have wings, dude. Like, get up and fly.
Well, certain times he had to get down there to distract people or whatever, but I know what you mean.
I thought that he was used very well. Great, and he was used heavily in the beginning, and then he was kind of sprinkled out through the end.
Because he's not with them in the middle.
And it worked great, and I think that John Oliver was the perfect voice for him.
You know what? I think they rushed through there was more singing with Timon and Pumbaa than there was just hanging out.
They rushed through once
they found them, the three of them, they rushed through that part.
Yeah.
100%. It took a long time to get there.
The beginning, the first act is long.
It took a very long time to get there.
And then the second two acts aren't that long.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I think it goes back to them wanting to push up Mufasa a little bit. We spent a lot of time with him because they wanted to make sure that we knew, like, it's all about the circle of life and the food chain and the kings and the stars and him taking over this throne and, like, becoming the future king. And, like, in the animated movie, it's hit on the head, but it's also very in a small amount. This one, it takes up a majority part of it, which I don't mind, but it also takes away from the really cool, fun Lion King-ness that we get from the anime movie with the three amigos, the trio of characters.
Weirdly enough, even though I'm disappointed in this movie overall, I mean, I was expecting amazing, and I got pretty good. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel because I would not, and you don't have to do the thing is, you had to do the original Lion King close to the original film. You don't have to make a sequel close to Simba's Pride. You don't have to.
You can just test
I would
Simba.
like to see, you can have him have a daughter too and all that. I think you'd still have his daughter in it and all that stuff. We see her at the end. But you can make that a lot different than you made these two. Which because I want to see a different story with these characters. And they couldn't do that with this first movie.
That would be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Brian, what were you going to say beforehand?
The one thing that I thought was kind of funny is between the area of Pride Rock and the, like, jungle-ish area, I caught myself thinking, I would rather live in the jungle area. It looked way nicer than Pride Rock. And that kind of, like, threw me off a little bit because I was, like, thinking to myself, I'm like, this place looks way better. Like, I would definitely be like...
Even before Scar took it over?
Well, he didn't take... Oh yeah, no. Before,
Yeah.
like, Pride Rock was like awesome, and then like the place that they went, that he ended up was like Simba ended up was like this lush waterfalls
Green
everywhere
and
and
water.
green and trees and stuff. And I'm like, this place looks way better than Pride Rock. Like Pride Rock was just kind of like open landscape and stuff. So that kind of threw me off because like when he's like, I'm not leaving, I was like, I don't think I would leave either. But
I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I'm also saying if you look at the real life food chain in today, where do lions live? They live in the desert.
Oh yeah,
you know?
100%.
They live in the shrubbery of like, you know, nothing really around them, and that's kind of where their hunting grounds are. And so I'm not. I mean, obviously it looks way better, and I think they meant it to look like that. But and it can also play into the whole king aspect where it's like,
well, they're up in the hills and that's their castle. And
yeah, it's like that's where the kings were before them. That's where
Yeah.
they've lived their entire lives. Like they have a duty to do that. And but you're right. I mean, that waterfall area was when you first saw it, you're like, wow.
I don't know
Wow.
why. When I was a kid, when they lift up the thing and start eating the bugs, that scene was way
iconic.
different.
It's
but it was
iconic.
way different in quote unquote live action, photorealistic, like you said. It was gross in the live action one, but it was like I was like, that looks kind of good in the animated one.
I was waiting for them to
Yeah.
squish it and like
So did I.
and
yeah.
it's so weird out, and I was like,
So that and them killing those and then talking about killing the gazelles and all that,
that's
it seems so wrong in photorealism as opposed to animation. I don't know
it
why.
kind of made me laugh. Like obviously, like it was funny how they were like so like concerned with like killing the other animals.
I
and
know.
Whatever.
I was
But then
thinking
the
that.
bugs, it's like
bugs
nothing.
are, like,
It's all
screw
good.
Bugs.
Yeah.
Like the bugs,
Yeah.
whatever. And they're just
They're live
I wonder
beings,
if the
too.
bugs can talk.
I don't think so.
I mean, all
wouldn't
the
they-
other animals can.
Wouldn't they have been like, don't eat me? Like,
I don't know.
I don't,
That's an interesting. That's very very interesting.
So I don't know. That was just funny to me. But
What'd you guys think about the sky scene, the one where Mufasa shows up? At
That was perfect.
yeah, I liked it.
I would have liked to see just a little bit more of his face. Like I understand like you don't want it to be like, oh, there's a giant face in the face, but like I had a hard time even like recognizing that there was a face at all.
Well, it was the lightning. That
I
did
know,
it, yeah.
but like even like I kind of almost couldn't tell. So I don't know. But that scene was amazing.
Yeah, I like the way I like the way it turned out, and I think that the way that they did it with the lightning and using his voice it made sense. It almost, I don't know, it's weird. I guess to me, like I love the scene, but it just didn't feel as iconic as the first
It
one.
didn't because they were laying in the grass in the in the original,
Yeah.
and I forget who he's with. Is he with Nala?
No, he's with Rafiki.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
He
And
goes
they're-
off with Rafiki.
Yeah, and they're both like laying on their backs and looking up at the sky when it happens. And in this one, they're just standing on a rock or something and looking
I
straight
think it's
up.
because they didn't play so much of that like dramatic music. in the
That's
background,
true
like that.
too.
It was just his voice. Yeah, and it just like, I guess it just plays into the whole lion factor, like they can't lay on their back and look up. You know, it's kind of a weird thing to do.
That's
and
true,
It's
yeah.
more of a dog thing where lions roll over and it's kind of like a sleeping position for them. And I don't know. It's a great scene. I guess it just didn't hit as hard, I guess, as the animated movie. But again, this movie had such high expectations to live up to.
Yeah, and I'm trying my best not to compare it to the animated film because it's always gonna lose in that argument. But I just even as its own thing, it's not amazing for me. It's pretty good visually.
I
incredible.
cannot
Can't
wait to
deny
see what Keith says because Keith will see this first before the
Yeah,
animated.
that'll be interesting.
So
Alrighty.
I want to mention one more thing. There's a scene that is missing from this film that I think was a total mistake on their end. When Simba and Nala are running back to Pride Rock after he realizes like kind of what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember that slow motion scene they did with his paws in the ground, running towards away from the shrubbery?
In the
after
animated film?
after the conversation with his father.
I know that it wasn't done the same way. I remember
So they him and
yeah.
Nala just basically ran back. Like
Yeah.
they ran back, and it was a short trip. You know, it was sky shots of them running through the desert and everything. but there was a shot in the animated
Oh,
movie
and
where
then
it's
Timon
close
and
up.
Pumbaa are chasing
It was close up on his paws, slow motion as he was running, kind of like a king would, and he was like growing into himself.
I know what
sort
you
of way.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm like, that's like probably the biggest disappointment I have in this movie.
Because it was right after him talking to Mufasa.
To his father,
right?
he basically just took off
Yeah.
and went to Pride Rock, and it's like the biggest regret I have from this movie that scene wasn't in there, because it's such an iconic moment for Simba, because it's like a close up of him and him realizing like, okay, I need to do this. Like, this is my moment. This is the moment I need to really help everybody.
Well, yeah, that's because that was the time for Beyonce's song.
And that's, well, I get that. And they changed it. They gave her an original song in that moment, and it was unfortunate, but I guess I just would have loved to have seen that movie live action, because it could have been really, really beautiful as like in the sand, and as they go to Pride Rock and kind of realize what's been happening, and so it's something that I've been like, as I've been watching reviews and stuff, it really hasn't been mentioned, and it's one of my favorite scenes from the original movie. So
yeah. Well, who knows?
You get some and you lose some.
So where do you think Lion King stands for you right now, just in 2019 films?
It's
because
barely in my top 10.
Yeah.
It's definitely in my top 10.
It's still early though.
It's still very early, and I only saw it last week, and I haven't put it in there yet.
No.
It'll be up there for right now, and I think I'll come to a conclusion once I see it a second time.
Yeah,
again,
I'm gonna see it again.
When I think my experience with it really hindered it for me, because I was thinking about it the entire time, and Brian actually walked in late, so he didn't get to see what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so he didn't get to see the
once
logo
you see
cut
the
off.
logo cut off, then you wouldn't have.
I thought about it
easily,
the entire time, and so once I go see it again, I'll definitely be able to really think about it and kind of give it an official answer. But for right now, I will say that it's definitely in my top 10.
Yeah, I think it is in mine too, but that's just kind of because the bottom of my top 10 isn't so hot. You know, it's not the greatest movies.
So far this year's been a little lackluster.
But I will just say overall, I was, it didn't meet my expectations, but it didn't miss them by far.
Cool.
To be honest.
Perfect.
All right, any last thoughts on Lion King, guys?
No.
Alrighty, well that's going to do it for our spoiler discussion of Lion King. I guess we really didn't spoil much because mostly everyone has seen the animated film.
It's a movie that's been spoiled for 25 years, so it's okay.
Mufasa dies, if you didn't know.
Well,
sorry.
Real quick, there was an article running around that said that the Mufasa death scene was funny.
I know, I saw that.
You should Google that and read that, but
why the Mufasa death scene is hilarious or something.
Why would it be funny?
I have no idea. I haven't read it, but I saw the headline. I'm very interested in reading that.
You definitely teared up, so I don't know.
I cried twice.
Headline.
I cried twice.
Is it because the way he fell? If
Probably.
it's like the way he fell wasn't scientifically accurate, then get out of here with that. Come on, the way they talk isn't scientifically accurate.
Come on.
But I don't see how that could be funny.
Yeah.
It was still.
We didn't talk about that scene, by the way.
Even though, we can. Even though we knew it was coming, it was still touching.
It was a powerful scene.
It was.
Like when Scar grabbed the claws and Mufasa roared, like it hit you. It's like, oh, it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's happening. Like it was a really strong scene, and they changed it a little bit from the original, but I think that overall it really impacted me just as much as the original did. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
It was done well. For sure.
Cool.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that's going to do it for Apocaflix Movies spoiler discussion of The Lion King. Let us know in the comment section what you thought of the film. Do you agree with us? Disagree? We're curious to see how you guys feel about the movie. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you all next time. Hey everyone, Jacob Bartley here. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out something similar from Apocaflix Movies, click this video up here. If you want something a little bit different, check out this video down here. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Apocaflix Movies and let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We always love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.